All right, so now you can start. We are live on the Facebook.
Okay, so hi, my name is Heidi. I am a GK educator, and I am here for some color education for you. So I guess my first thing is was there any questions about the color line?
Yes, so I've been informed that we use a vegan Juvexin in our colors. Is that true?
Yes, the vegan color is now the color line is going to be all vegan now. Yes, so the reason what they're going to do for the vegan part of it is like the V2, vegan 2, Juvexin 2, and that is derived from quinoa and pea, and that makes the protein instead of using the keratin from the sheep's wool. So that is going to be in the color line. The color is not going to perform any differently. If anything, I'm told it might perform a little better, which is hard to believe because it performs so well. But it's still going to have the ceramides, and it's going to have all the pigmentation that's the same in it. It's just going to be vegan now.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Mm-hmm. We also have new shades that are getting added to the color line. So we have 38 shades that have just been added. So we have a total of 125 shades now, which is amazing because we have everything from the, neutral series, like, the natural ends to very creative pre-mixed colors that are vibrant or pre-mixed to tone as they lift or pre-mixed to tone as they darken. So the whole color line is designed, what I tell people is designed for everybody, beginner colorist up to one of the most experienced colorist. And the reason I say that is because of all of the different shades that are available and the fact that we have that ammonia booster in there. So for advanced colorists who want to really play with the color line and create, everything is available for them. Right down to our mixed tones, which are gorgeous mixed tones. They're pure tone, primary colors, and then we have a violet and a green and an ash, and their pigmentation is very, very strong. It's very pigmented, so we can use those to, again, enhance or mute or create. I actually use a lot of the mixed tones on the young kids that want their tips bright colors. I use those straight with a developer. So, it's very, very versatile, and it is very user-friendly. So I have a ton of information in my head spinning around. So if anybody has any questions for me, I love answering the questions. Along with our neutral tones, we have a double pigmented neutral tones. So those are amazing for gray coverage. And they're double pigmented, so they are designed for deposit. So I wouldn't recommend them for lifting, but they're great for gray coverage and getting a true tone when you're doing your coloring for the gray coverage. So, and then we have some really beautiful pre-mixed tones. I have a swatch book here, and I can show you some of the gorgeous colors. Like I was saying about the mixed tones, those are right here. And you can see that this is the pigmentation that's in them. And they live between a 6 and a 7 for level. The level for the yellow and the violet, I say, are a little bit closer to 7, where the red, the copper, the blue, and the green, those are more like a 6. They're just a tiny bit deeper. And the ash is pretty deep. So I say that's close to like a 6, maybe a little bit deeper than a 6. It really depends. When you're mixing, how you apply it and what you're using it for. But this ash is really cool. And I mean that like cool isn't a cool tone, but it's pure ash. It's not green. It's not gray. It's like a gray ash tone. It's not like a blue green, or it's ash. So it's really cool to have that option to add to any of your mixed colors. So again, our color line is 125 shades now. I'm really excited to get the new swatch books because the new swatch books are going to be beautiful, and they'll have a bigger pieces of hair in there for sample swatches for us, so we can really see them like on a video like this. But we have, like I said, the 125 shades now. We have the developers that range from 8, 10, 20, 30, and 40. So we can use those to make any semi-demi type color with it. I mean, I've gone as far as mixing an 8 developer with a little bit of conditioner and one of those mixed tones to make a pink or a purple for something that's not going to last forever for the kids. And they come out gorgeous, and the kids are happy and the parents are happy because it's not developed to, it's not going to last them a long time. So it slowly fades out and they're not committed to it, and it doesn't ruin their hair. So the mixed tones are great for a lot of things like that. And we have everything from the natural series, the natural ends. We have intense naturals, like I said, with the extra pigment in them. And we have the ash series, and our ash series are gorgeous. These are really good. They're not so ashy that they're muddy. They're ashy enough to neutralize warmth, but they are still really pretty tones. And those range, oh my gosh, I'm going to need some reading glasses soon. Everywhere from a 1-1, so a 1, level 1 ash, all the way up to level 8, a 9. So let me start over. Let me start with, we have all these tones, but what we do have is we have a numerical system. So our colors range from level 1 to level 10, and then our shading is also numerical, where the number 1 would be an ash tone, number 2 would be an iris, which is like a purple, violety purple tone, 3 is golden, 4 is copper, 5 is mahogany, 6 is red, 7 is sand, and 7, I was to try like sand, that's a new one for me. So I look over here on this color wheel, and it lives right here in this yellow greenish hue, which is, when you think about it, when you're coloring, how pretty that is. It gives beautiful sand tones to the hair. So 7 is sand, 8 is amber, 9 is chocolate. So those are the tones. Now, when you're looking at our color line, you'll see something like 6.6. Well, 6 would be a level 6, and the primary color in it would be 6 equals red. So 6.6 is a dark blonde red. So it's a very red, dark blonde. We also have what's called 6.66. Now 6.66, now we have the 2 numbers after the dot, right? So the first number after the dot is going to be 70%, and the second number after the dot will be 30% of your formula. So if you think of it that way, we're going to be at a level 6, and it's going to be red with more red. So this 6.66 is the most beautiful, vibrant red. It's just gorgeous. It has a lot of red pigment. So that is kind of how I got used to the color line, because I'm slightly dyslexic. When I'm tired, I'm really dyslexic. So I was a little nervous about the colors and the numerical order and all that. But I really, by relating it to the tones, have had no problem formulating. And after all the years of coloring that I've done, I still come over to my color wheel when I'm formulating, or if I second guess myself, I like to just come over and double check it. And I actually feel like it's given my brain a little more opening. I feel like it's really woken me up to, wow, I can really formulate with this, because now I know levels and I know tones really, really well. So I've had a lot of creativity with this color line, and I've had a lot of fun with it. So that being said, this color wheel is amazing. I keep one posted, and every color sits on this color where it lives. So along with the tonage, it also sits how light or how dark it is by how far out on the wheel it is. So it's really, really nice to formulate, which is why I was saying you can formulate as an experienced stylist or a fairly new colorist. This will hold your hand. It will help you get through it. And this swatch book, all of our swatch books are amazing, because we have a lot of detail on the back pages that will walk you through formulation, will help you decide how long to process. It's really, really great. So we also have, I say a lot of ums and I apologize, it's just a habit. We have super lighteners in our color line. Super lighteners are high lifters. So we have a couple that have the S at the end of it. When they have an S at the end of it, they have a higher amount of ammonia, so they have more power for lifting. If they don't, they have power for lifting, but they have a little bit more ability to tone. So that's really cool because these colors right here are great for toning. If you have, you want to tone over anything and you mix them with like an 8 or a 10 volume, they're going to give you gorgeous tones. So you have a lot of great control in our high lift series, in our super lighteners. We also have some pearl colors if you want to talk about toning. These pearls are gorgeous. They're a really great mix of, let me see, a couple of them are.
All right, Heidi?
Yes.
Actually, we have a person, Josh, here, and he wants to, you have a question, please. Can you?
Oh, great. Bring on the questions.
Hi, how are you?
Good. How are you?
I'm good, thank you. I just want to, go back with mixed tones. I just want to ask you with the clear tone that we have, the gloss color, right? The new gloss, the clear one.
Okay.
I have a question. Yes. So how, what would be the percentage that we have to add in the other color, the gloss in any other color, and why and when we need that gloss color in our mixtures?
The gloss color.
Yes.
Okay. So first, the mixed tones, not required, but the suggested percentage on a mixed tone when you're putting it in your formulation is about 30%. But as a colorist, you use your judgment on that. The clear is amazing. So if you think about, if you have a clear, you can add it to pretty much anything and kind of lighten it up. So if you were to take the red mixed tone, which is extremely, extremely pigmented, and you wanted to add clear to it, you would get lighter and lighter tones of the red, right up to, if you wanted to do a little bit of red in clear, you could make pink. So the clear is designed to help us with our creativity. I think it's amazing because when I first started working with this color line, I was assigned a mixed tone to be creative with, and I was like, oh gosh. And then the more I thought about it, I'm like, wow, doesn't that open up a whole world in my head? Like I have the clear and I have these tones, so I can make them lighter. I can intermix them and make them be more creative. So I find that's one of the best things about the clear for me. But you can also add it to other formulas if you want to lighten them up a tad. So it just gives you a tool. It's an extra tool that's amazing to have. I've also heard, I haven't tried it, but I've also heard when you're doing a color correction on colors that have had like a semi-permanent deposit or like fashion colors, a lot of times if you mix clear with a 10 volume developer, it will actually help push out that pigment instead of push it in when you use a lightener. So I find the clear to be very versatile, and it's a really nice thing to have in a color line. Does that help?
Yes.
Okay.
All right, Heidi, we have another question.
Okay.
Hi, Heidi. This is Henry. So I actually have two questions. The first one being is in regards to the clear. Now, is clear that we have in our line same thing as a gloss? Like, does it add shine to the hair as well?
Not really. It's not a gloss. It's more of a clear color. The color doesn't really need something for a gloss. If you're familiar with the color, and it has ceramides in it and the Juvexin in it, and so the color is usually really, really shiny. Some people will do it over a color to try to give it a little bit more shine. I personally think if you're going to go over it with a clear, you use a low volume, like an 8, and you can get more shine out of it. But I've really never used it that way because the color is always so shiny and it doesn't fade. So I've really never had to use it that way. So I guess my answer to that would be you could with a low developer, but you don't have to. Again, I'll be honest with you, I haven't tried it, so I can't tell you exactly what it would do, but I'm under the impression that it would give a nice clear coating over color, as long as you're using a lower developer. I wouldn't want to use a higher developer with it, because then I feel like you might actually be watering down the color. Does that make sense?
Yes, exactly. I know, totally makes
So
sense. Um, so the other question that I had was about, mixing the formulations. So one of my clients actually tried the 5.56, and she did that on a person who had 100% gray coverage that was needed. It's like a red mahogany color.
Yep.
Yep. So she mentioned that she wasn't able to get 100% gray coverage. What sort of colors can she, mix in her formulation to kind of achieve the 100% gray coverage?
Okay, so she was using a 5, which is a light brown.
Yeah.
And she wanted to get that mahogany reddish hue to it.
Yes.
I would add either a 5 or 5.0 to her formula, because what you're doing is you're putting a mixed color on hair that has no base. It's kind of hollow. So by adding some N or double N in there, you're filling that in and giving that mahogany red color a base to sit on and actually be more solid and prettier and richer. So she probably not having any N in there, just had a little bit more of a hollow, so she didn't get that gray coverage. If her hair is super resistant, like I said, I would do a 5.0. If it's normal resistant, I'd do 5. But I would definitely put some N in there, just to give it that base. I don't think it would mute out her tone, because you have to fill in that white to build that mahogany color over it.
Okay. Well, thank you very much.
You're welcome.
So the clear is only to use to lighter the color, right?
Mostly, like I said, I haven't tried it, but I do believe if you use it with a low developer, something that's not going to, try to push to lighten the hair and just deposit, then I believe you will get a nice shine out of it as well. Like I said, I just haven't done it because I have not felt the need, because this color line is so shiny anyway. So I haven't really done that. What I would like to try it, I tend to experiment a lot, and now that I'm getting these questions, my head's spinning. And what I want to do is I actually want to try the clear over like a temporary color to see if it locks it in. So I'm going to start experimenting, and I will definitely take notes and let you know what my results are.
Okay, same with the intense naturals and super intense naturals. If we use 30% of them in any colors, we will get 100% gray coverage, right?
You should, yes, absolutely.
Okay.
Especially, yes. They are designed for dropping into that hair shaft and grabbing and helping the color grab in there and give a really great base. So that's pretty much what they're for, is to help with the gray coverage. As far as I've ever used them, I do find them to be the intense naturals to be a little bit deeper. So like I said, I would not recommend them if you're trying to lift with a color, but if you're looking for deposit and gray coverage, you will get it. So, and adding it to like a mixed tone or a pre-mixed color, it'll just support it if you're just doing the 30% of it. Does that help you?
Yes. Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome. You're welcome. Is there any other questions I can help with? Or do you want me to just kind of keep talking about the color and it might spark a question?
Yes, we should talk about the lightning powders as well. Like people are like thinking like our lightning powder is so like it's what we call like so hard, or like they don't get the proper mixture. Because it's a powder base. So is there any solution for that? Like it's only we have to use like 1:2, or we should increase the developer with 2.5 or something?
So I highly recommend following the manufacturer's measurements, but I also highly recommend putting a bowl on a scale and using that. I used for years and years, I would just kind of guesstimate, and now I use the scale and I have consistent results all the time. You can, but what I do sometimes too is I will add a little bit more if I like it a tiny bit thicker, depending on what I'm doing, a little bit more of the actual lightener, or I will it depending again, if I'm balayaging and I need a little bit looser on the ends, I will tweak it, but I recommend following the manufacturer's directions on that for sure. I haven't had any problem with it being too harsh. The lighteners all have that Juvexin in them, and a lot of them have other additives in them to keep the hair healthy and stronger. And if you're worried about that, you could also add that shield additive in there, and that would be 10% of your formula. So that would be probably what my go-to if your clients are having are worried about the strength of it, and that little bit of that shield in there additive will definitely give it more bonding, strengthening, and healing process while it's lightening, and it actually really is amazing. I was also skeptical when we first got that, and when I started using it, I was like really wowed by it. Does that help?
Yes.
Okay, I just want to make sure I'm answering the question and I'm not like misunderstanding the questions or giving you answers that don't help you. So,
All right, Heidi, we have a question on Facebook, and the question is, can you just tell us more about semi and demi-permanent colors?
some more
How
of
we
it.
can, yes.
Repeat that for me again. I'm
The
sorry.
question is, can you please tell us more about semi and demi-permanent colors? How we consider our colors like semi or demi?
Semi or demi. So it's basically just going to depend on how you mix them with the developer. There's enough pigmentation in all of the colors that you can tweak them with the developer to how strong you want to make them, or how much you want them to penetrate into the hair shaft. Like I said, I've done everything from using 8 volume or using 10 volume and half conditioner to just make it like something temporary, to 8 volume to get it partly in the hair shaft to make it last a little longer, or for toning when the hair is already compromised and you just want to pause it. So it's really all about how you use the developer. So it's just, like I said, there's just there's enough pigment, and they're very pigmented tones that it just really works. I used to use a color line that had, demi, semi-permanent, semi-demi, and then a permanent. And I like the fact that I can create what I want with this color line better. I hope that's what you're looking for an answer.
All right, thank you. And tell us something about, do we have ammonia-free colors, or do we have ammonia in our colors?
No, we do have ammonia in our colors. In one of my trainings, I remember we talked about that, and they just decided that there just wouldn't be the power to do what the color needs to do. Ammonia alternatives basically do the same as far as any kind of chemical or whatever. The option wasn't as beneficial, I guess is the word I'm looking for. The ammonia levels in our color, instead of just being really strong ammonia, which is really great because when you're mixing it, you don't get that whiff of ammonia. The ammonia levels actually shift in some of the tones. So the ones that are designed for deposit have a little bit less ammonia. The ones for high lift have a little bit more ammonia. So you can, if you can relate that to like a higher lift, obviously you need ammonia for the strength and the power. Where the ones that are for developing, they don't need as much for lift, just to help open up with the developer and deposit into the hair shaft. So there is ammonia in all our colors, but it's not overpowering. It's not something that you smell. It's not real strong. There's just enough in there to help support the process for the color. And there's also, like I said, that the Juvexin 2, the V2 is in there, and the ceramides are in there. So it helps almost like counteract any harmfulness of the ammonia that would be in the color. So I've done a lot of research, and I know that there's some color lines that are ammonia free, but I honestly really feel comfortable with the GK levels of ammonia.
All right, perfect. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Heidi, can you hear me?
I can hear you, sure.
That's great. How you doing?
I'm great. How are you?
I'm good. I'm good. Thanks for asking. Well, I'm getting back on that semi and demi-permanent results. I mean, the question is, for example, if you're using like 8 or 10 volume of the developer,
Mhm.
how long does the color last? Like for
So
3 months, 5 months? This is actually the question.
okay, so it really kind of also depends on the hair you're working on. Um, it depends on how porous the hair is. If the hair is super porous and you're using a low developer and it really absorbs it in, you're going to get more longevity. When you're doing it as like a demi, you should get about, I want to say 5 to 6 weeks of a tone. It's going to slowly fade because it doesn't have all that power. But again, it depends on the porosity of the hair. So the lower the developer, the weaker the power. So the less length of time it's going to last. Again, as long as it's not over porous. So I keep that in mind too when I'm formulating how porous is the hair. When what developer do I need? And because when you're doing a semi or demi, you're only doing deposit. You're not going to. You don't want lift. So I say it's more about your creativity and the fact that the 8 volume has 0 lift and mostly deposit or all deposit. And then the 10 has mostly deposit, but we call that like a shift because since some people with finer hair or more color sensitive hair, I guess, you can get like a bump, like a half a lever to a lever of a lift with 10. So that's why it really depends on what you're working on and what you choose to use, but you can use pretty much any color in the color line. But again, the super lighteners and all that, those are higher ammonia for lift, so you don't want to do those. You want to do something that's more on a regular color. Does that make sense?
Yeah, sure. So we can take the answer as like on an average 4 to 6 weeks, like for 8 or 10 volume of
Oh,
developer.
yeah, I'm sorry. I know. I tend to over answer. That's why I'm like, I hope that's what they wanted. Yeah, 4 to 6 weeks. But no, one thing that I've learned is that no matter what you put in the hair, whether it's semi, demi, you're still altering the natural hair. So that alter is always going to be there. So you want to keep that in mind. So people say, oh, I haven't colored. I've only done like a semi or a demi. Say, and then they want to get a perm. You want to keep in mind that that still had been altered a little bit. There was still some chemical change in the hair because once you do any kind of chemical change in the hair, it doesn't just go away after 4 to 6 weeks. It's still going to leave some type of a footprint. I just want to make sure you're aware of that too.
Makes sense. Thanks.
You're welcome.
I appreciate that.
No problem. Any more questions?
Yes, I actually do have a question. Sorry, it just took me long to unmute myself.
No worries.
So I actually had a question from one of my team members, and they were asking which volume of developer do you usually use on a root touch-up?
On a root touch-up, my go-to is usually 20. The 20 is great because it has the power for gray coverage, it has the power to get that color in there. So normally I use a 20. If I'm doing deposit and they don't have really resistant hair, I might use a 10, but 90% of the time, 20 is my go-to.
Okay, great. Thank you.
And what about the gray coverage? Like, do you suggest using the deposit only, or you would be like considering picking up 20, 30, or 40 volume for
So
gray
for
coverage?
okay, so for like a root touch-up or for gray coverage in general, especially if I'm using the double pigmented, I will use a 20 volume because those double pigmented, they're going to have enough pigment to go in. The 20 is not going to do much for lift. It's going to more so help support and push in that extra pigment from the supernaturals, the double pigmented ones. So for gray coverage, I still do 20 volume. Our colors are really great. They're rich and creamy, and they have great pigmentation in them. So 20%, like I said, most of the time. Again, a lot of it is going to depend on who's in your chair and what you're doing and what your outcome wants to be. If I have hair that's been, I'm sorry, so if hair's been pre-lightened and I'm trying to deposit, then I'll drop it down to a 10 or even maybe an 8, depending on how porous the hair is.
Gotcha.
Mm-hmm.
Because I heard if you use the higher volume, you will get the lighter result. So if you're using like 30 or 40, you will be getting a lighter result than you are expecting.
Well, yeah. Well, I mean, that's basic color 101. 20 volume is designed to lift 1 to 1.5 levels if you're trying to lift with it. 30 is to maybe 3 tops for lift. 4 is 3 to 4, especially, or with super lighteners, more, 7 or so. A lot of it's in your formulation, how you're choosing for your color and what you're using for a developer. So basic color 101 with normal color deposit, 20 volume is usually my go-to. Some people find with really resistant hair, they would go to 30 volume to help get more power for the color. But now I found with the pigmentation and the extra color, we have the double, the 0.00, which has the extra pigmentation in it. I don't really have to bump up my developer because that power, the pigmentation and the power is in the color as well. So I don't have to do that. But yes, some people have done the 30 to help get it, but it sometimes can be a little lighter. So I feel like by sticking with 20, I'm getting more of a true to what I want result. Does that help? Got it? Okay. And a lot of it too is customizable. I mean, who's in your chair? What have they had done? Where do I want to go with it? What result am I looking for? A lot of it is going to be in your consultation. I always touch, feel. I mean, I play with the hair. I part it. I look at different areas, have different colors in them. Sometimes some people have a gray patch over here, or they have just salt and pepper all around. I really kind of like take the GK vent brush and I'll brush through the hair and I'll kind of part it and look and see what I'm working with before I actually formulate. And sometimes it takes more than one formula for me, depending on if I'm doing a color correction or, if the hair is more fragile or, whatever it is. Everything is customizable, but this color line has everything that you need to customize it for your guest in your chair. Any more questions? Don't be afraid to ask, because, I'd like to try to be as helpful as I can.
Yes, guys, if you have any question, please ask.
So how familiar with the color are you? Are you with, like, I know you're here to get some color information. I just don't want to be repetitive or go over stuff that you already know. Like I said, I feel like the Juvexin being vegan, that's huge. I think it's great. And I got to tell you, a lot of salons, when I talk about it being vegan, their eyes really light up. I think that a lot of people are a lot more aware of different things that are going on in the world right now. And vegan is something that a lot of people are leaning towards, or even just a lot of people are vegetarian. And when they hear vegan, they know it's well within their brackets of what they're comfortable with. So I really like that. I love the ceramides that are in the color because they are a moisturizer. They help hold the shine. They're really great like that. I'm trying to see. I have a bunch of notes I had in here for in case you guys had some questions. And I like to just talk about stuff that might help you. I don't know if you guys are interested in any of the information on some of the new lightening powders that we have coming out. But
110%, we would definitely be interested in that, yeah.
Yes, exactly.
Okay, all right, great. So the new lightening powder, they have one that is called the lightening powder mask. So it's very new, but luckily for me, I was able to go to training in Cancun, which is amazing, and we got to play with some of the new lighteners. And I have to tell you, I was very, very impressed. The lightening powder mask has diamond powder in it, and it has hyaluronic acid in it, but also meteorite powder. So it actually has like a light gray hue to it when you mix it. And I was always kind of fascinated with those gray lighteners, but when I tried to use them, it was really hard to see when you're checking on them as they're processing the tone of it. Where this one is gray, but it's light enough that you can actually watch that color, how the lift of it and what level you're at. It is amazing. It has a lot of great things. Like I said, the hyaluronic acid, and it has Juvexin in it. So the texture is amazing. we were able to do a balayage with it. We did a bamboo tech balayage with it technique, and then we also did some foils with it. And the hair was already had been pre-lightened. Our model had, her hair was kind of fragile, so we did a clarifying shampoo, a deep conditioner treatment on her, and then we used this diamond lightener on her, and it was amazing. So it gives you up to 9 levels of lift. It's ethical and sustainable sources. So it is, again, on like almost like on that vegan side where it's healthy for the world. It's aware of the environment. So that's really great. I feel good using something like that. I can't read my own writing sometimes. So it has kaolin in it, which cleanses the hair. So it helps remove any oils that are in the hair, like natural scalp oils, to help it process. And the cleaner that the hair is that you're working on, the better the results. So that's really cool. That was a really neat thing that I thought, something great to add to a lightener, something to help cleanse the hair as it's working on it. Again, the hyaluronic acid, it conditions, moisturizes, keeps the hair soft and smooth. It has peptide powder, which is rich in minerals. So again, we used this on that training, and I was so impressed. I mean, I've been a hairdresser a long time, and I remember back in the day where like you can't overlap bleach because it'll just snap off. So I've been doing this a long time, and I've tried to keep myself educated over all these years. And I was kind of like, wow, we're overlapping bleach now, overlapping it to get people that white tone. And it always kind of scared me a little bit. So thank goodness for this initiative. I would always use that. But GK has been coming out with some amazing products that make me feel a lot better. The hair feels better. It gives me more options to create and reach goals. And this diamond powder in there, this lightening mask is amazing. So I highly recommend you guys talk about this because it's great. I'm trying to think what else is in there. There's antioxidants in there. It's just crazy. Like the stuff the scientific side of it with GK has been amazing. So there's that one. Then there's also, they have a new one that's called Lightening Powder Zero. So this one we also got to play with in Cancun, and this one was also amazing. To me, it is the twin brother to the Lightening Powder Plus. So it has the strength of it. It has argan oil in there to help keep it for the conditioning. It has 9 levels of lift. It's nourishing and hydrating. Keeps the hair healthy and strong. That again, it has argan oil. It has hyaluralized quinoa ammonia acids in there. I'm sorry, I just can't read my own writing or pronounce quinoa half the time. It has the V2 in it. So everything GK has either Juvexin or V2 in it, but pretty much all of the new products they're coming out with are V2, which is the vegan Juvexin. It has magnesium carbonate hydroxide, which helps absorb excess oil and add volume. Again, isn't that awesome that they're thinking about cleansing the hair to get the best result as it's processing? It has a blue base, it's fast acting, and it is enhanced with pectin in it. So the reason they call it zero is because there's no harmful chemicals. So basically to ship this to other countries, there's nothing in there that's going to ignite or cause problems. There's nothing that is explosive or, any harsh chemicals. And I love that direction that GK is taking, being vegan and being aware of the environment again, and just being safe. So that was a really cool thing to learn. I really liked using it. And again, I feel like it's a twin to our traditional Lightening Powder Plus. So any questions on those? Because I know I kind of rambled them off pretty quick. Nothing? All right. I think you guys got it all in there then, huh? So what else I have for notes? We still have the cream lightener that we recommend if you're going to do on scalp lightening. That's amazing. And again, you can add that shield additive to anything to even make it more healing and help strengthen bonds and everything in the hair. So it's really great that we have so much to offer. Again, like I said, anything from a beginning colorist to an advanced colorist, we have it all for them in this line. Okay. Any more
Guys, any
questions?
question?
Don't be afraid to
Okay.
ask me.
Yes. Heidi, I believe they are preparing the questions. So meanwhile, I
Okay.
think you should just go with the class and
Okay.
they will start asking questions.
Okay, great. Okay, so our new colors that we have, the 38 new shades, we have a new mocha line. So that's really cool. And I don't think it's in this swatch book yet. I'm not sure. But the mocha line is like the 8-2. So 8 is amber and 2 is iris. So it kind of almost creates like a real nice chocolate hue. So we have a level 5.82, a 6.82, a 7.82, an 8.82, and a 9.82. And I'm really excited. I haven't had a chance to use this, but I'm really excited to kind of play with it, because if I think about like taking an amber and taking a purple and putting them together, the balance of it, I think it's going to be really cool. I've seen the shades, but I'm one of those people too that I want to touch, see, feel, and make it myself. So I'm excited about those. And then for our super lighteners, we have 2 new ones, which is a 902S, which is the super lightener, which means it has the more power to it, a little bit more ammonia. And so 902, 2 being iris, that's great because it's got like that purple hue to it when you're doing a high lift. And then we have the 912S. So 912 is the 1-2 would be ash and purple iris in there. So, and that's got the extra ammonia. So those 2 are really cool. I think they're a great additive to our high lift color line. And then we have a beige color line. So they made beige out of one, which is ash. I don't know if you guys can see, but 1 is ash and then 3 is gold. So by mixing the 1 and the 3, it gives a really cool beige color. Again, they're very new. I haven't had a chance to really play with them. In Mexico, we get to like check them all out and everything, and I'm really excited. So those beige colors, we're going to have a 7.13, an 8.13, and we're going to have an 8.31. So if you were to take the 3, which is the golden, and have that be 70% and the ash be 31%, again, like, that's really cool because now you, depending on what you're trying to achieve and what you're starting with, you have a great little swap there that you can bounce from one to the other on. We have a 9.13 and a 10.13. So those are really great additives. I think beige is a really cool tone to have in the color line. And then in our Pearl series, which I think is, Pearl series are just beautiful because they're not too ashy, but they're not like too dull. They're actually really pretty. So the Pearl would be, we have the new ones are 7.12, so 1 being ash, 2 being purple. So 70% ash and 30% the iris purple. So we have a 7.12, a 9.12, and a 10.12. So think about that when you have somebody with lighter hair or a toner that you're looking for. That 10.21, I'm sorry, 10.21 is the new one. That is a purpley ash, a light irisy ash. So that is an amazing toner. I am super excited to be playing with that one. So those are our new Pearl tones.
Heidi, we have a question from Henry.
All right, bring them on.
Hi, Heidi. So the question is, like we were talking about toners, right? So is our colors like safe to be used as toners as well? Like, let's say if someone has like copper tone in their hair, can we use like either ash or anything with like a 0.91 shade tone to sort of neutralize the copper base?
Yes, absolutely. That is exactly what they're designed for. One of the options that you can use them for, but that's what I would probably be more apt to use them for. So on our color wheel, you can kind of pick where your starting base area is of what you have, somebody copper or yellowy or golden, and you can come across the color wheel and you can kind of pick and choose what tones you want to use. And again, the colors live at the, from darkest to lighter on the wheel. So if you're looking at something in the 9 level, which is like up in this area here, across, neutralizes. So it's really That's exactly what you can use them for. One of the main reasons they're designed for is for toning and neutralizing coppers or warmth. So yes, that's exactly that. That's, yeah.
Okay, great. And usually you tend to use like either 8 or a 10 volume developer with that, correct?
Yes, exactly, 8 or
Okay.
10 volume. And I love to follow up with the Lock Me color mask because that just
Mhm.
helps lock in those color pigments and help that toner last. Because that's one of the things that I read a lot about on different forums and question places about getting toner to last. And that's the other thing about GK. They have these products like the Lock Me mask that will help lock in and seal that toner. So that will definitely be beneficial as well.
All right, perfect. Thank you very much.
You're welcome. Do we have any more questions?
They will ask.
Okay. I know, I keep pushing for them because I'm like, I feel like I'm just rambling and I don't know if they're actually, you guys are actually, benefiting from my all the information I'm just spewing out real fast. So, but we also have, so we have a new color line too, which is the browns, which are for the 8s. So 8s are like an amber, so they're really pretty. They're really like a warm brown, but they're gorgeous. And again, some people come in they're brassy. Some people come in and they're muddy. You know, a lot of it can depend on what's in their water or what lifestyle they have or what their natural pigment is. So it's nice to have the new brown series, which is the 8. So we have a 4.8, a 5.8, a 6.8, a 7.8, and an 8.8 coming out. And so again, we have more options. Then we have our matte tones, which I think are really cool. I cannot wait to get my hands on these. The mattes are, they're a 0.17. So 1 would be ash and 7 would be sand, which is in the green. So I think it's going to be really, really neutralizing for coppers like you were talking about. And we'll have a 6.17, a 7.17, and an 8.17. So they're going to be a little bit deeper. They're not going to be up in the 9s and 10s, but they are going to be ash in like a sand greenish hue to them to really help neutralize people who get really coppery or really like that orange color. Like sometimes people come in and they want to be blonde and they don't tell you they've done box color, and you lighten them up and you can't get past that orange, that just awful coppery orange tone. That's when I would probably grab one of these matte tones. Obviously we're going to tell them that, box color has stopped our processing, but we can give them a really pretty tone where they're at now. And I would use one of those for sure, because I think that would neutralize them beautifully. And then we have some new super intense naturals, and those again have extra pigmentation in them, so they'll have more gray coverage, more depth to them, and those are going to range from 1 to a 10. We have a bunch of different ones of those. They have a 1, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10 super intense naturals. So again, those would be used for deposit. They're going to be deeper. They're going to be for gray coverage, resistant gray hair, or something to add to a formula for gray coverage, but you have a beautiful tone you want to use, but you want to make sure you get gray coverage. You can add a little bit of that in there. And so those are really great to have as well for depth and pigmentation. Again, I don't recommend trying to use like a 10.00 to do any kind of high lift or lifting. It's designed for coverage. It's designed for deposit.
Another question, Heidi.
Okay.
Heidi Henry again. So you know how our natural series is, like neutral base, it doesn't have like any tones to it, right? Where does our, the super lighteners kind of fall on our color wheel?
Okay, so first, the natural, the neutrals, they are just like a brown. They're like a basic, they're like a pure tone. They're not, you can use like a straight up like 6 to do a color 6. It will be beautiful. I just want to make sure you understand that. As far as the high lift color tones, where do they stand? So the higher you go, the less end pigment is in there because you're going lighter, so you're going to go up higher. So the super lighteners are exactly what they say. So if you go up there and you want to get like a 901S, you're going to be at a level 9, but the O would be like the N, and then the S, the 1 would be ash, and then the S means it's super. So you're going to have a little bit of an N in there, but it's going to be ashy for toning or and lifting. So I'm trying to make sure I understood your question as far as that. Does that
It's
sound
okay. No, so basically the question was like, you know how naturals have like a pure tone, right? They don't have any secondary or primary
Yes.
shades to it. But when it comes to super lighteners, like I don't see them on our color wheel. So I was just a bit curious as to where they stand on our color wheel. Like, do they have like warm tone to it or cool tone to it? So
No,
yeah,
I don't know
I
what
do see
color
like
you have.
two
Mine
of
has
them.
has some of them on here. See, like the 901S is way over here on this blue. So it's right there. So the
All right, I wasn't able to read that part there.
yeah, I know it's really tiny. I ordered a bigger color book, but I just didn't get it in. I guess FedEx or somebody lost my book. So I was hoping to have the bigger swatch book with the bigger color wheel in it. Oh, actually, let me see if I can. This one I didn't pull out. See how shiny it is? So a lot of times when I try to show with a glare. But see, this is where the 901S is right here. Can you see it? So I believe with
Yes,
the
I see that.
new, yeah, so I believe with the new color line, you'll be able to see where those are too as well. To see the 907 is like way up here, but you see how it's in that like lime green almost tone area? It's way up here.
Yeah.
So that would be where it lives on the color wheel as well. So along with the color wheel, I guess we kind of have to use our imagination a little bit as far as where it would live too. But yeah, they're on here. The 912S is like way down here. See that? Oh, I'm trying to get it so
Yeah.
it doesn't have a glare. See
Oh,
it?
yeah, I see it on my color wheel now. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So it's
Thank
just
you.
it's so tiny. I want bigger. My eyes are getting old and tired, so I think we need a bigger one. I'm gonna see if I can figure out a way with my printer to make me a bigger one. That might be cool. But does that help?
Oh, yes, it does. Thank you very much.
Okay, sorry. I guess I was answering them. I don't think this is what he wanted to know. So, but any more questions?
Not for now.
No? Okay. Has this been helpful for you? I mean, I'd love some feedback. If there's anything that I rambled on about or you weren't sure of, I'd love you to call me out on it.
Oh, yeah, totally.
Definitely.
You're being great, honestly.
Okay.
Helped me quite a lot.
Thank you. Thanks. Because like I tend to, I have like this overload in my head with knowledge, and sometimes I try to get it out too fast, and then it gets like, I feel like I might confuse people. So I don't want to do that to you guys.
I actually do have a question, Heidi. I actually received it from one of my clients about like 2 to 3 days ago. The question was that she was working with a client, right? She had virgin hair. Now the client doesn't want to use any sort of, lightening service. And the client wants to get about 5.56 done, and her natural color on her hair is like black, like jet black, number one. And something that I recommended was you could use like a high volume developer to get, more lifts, but she wasn't comfortable doing that. Is there another way that we can maybe, go about this and she could color 5.56?
Okay, so what color did you say her base color was, her natural
Her
color?
base color was number one, which was like black.
Oh, okay. And she wants
And
to get
she's,
to a 5.5.
0.56. Like again, like a red mahogany.
Okay,
And
so
she's got
luckily
virgin
she
hair.
wants to stay in the warm areas, because when you're lifting from a 1, you're going to have to cut through a million colors of warmth to get anything above like a 5. So that's really good. My wheels are turning. So she doesn't want any lightener. Which my first question to her would be, would you be open to me using a high lift color to lighten up your hair a little bit with high lift with color? And if she was, that would be my first step, is I would actually go in with one of the high lift colors and try to lift her a couple of levels with that, and then go in with my formula depending on how light I could get her with the high lift color, and then go in with my formula and decide if I needed 20 or 30. I feel
Sorry,
like,
just a quick one. By high lift color, you mean like the superliners, correct?
yes, absolutely. So, like,
Okay.
because I feel like if you were just to take the 5.56 and add 30 volume to it, what you're doing is when you're lifting her up with 30 volume, you're going to maybe get 2 levels, because when it's a level 1, there's a lot of pigment, it's a lot of depth. So you're going to probably get her to maybe a 3, but you're going to be exposing a lot of already like red, orange tones in her hair. So to go in with a 5.56, you're going to be, it's going to be too much. It's going to be too red, too orangey. It's not going to, I don't think it would be enough to just do 30 volume with the 5.56. I really believe that to get her to a 5.56, there needs to be some type of a lift in there. And if she's not open to using a lightener, I would definitely maybe talk about using like a high lift color.
Maybe something like a silver 912.
Yeah,
Kind of cut
anything
through
like
those
that.
tones. Okay.
Yeah, anything like that to bring her up a couple of levels. It'll give you, if you could bring her up, like, if you could bring her from a 1, if you could even bring her up 3 levels, you get her around a 4. And then also, you're going to be opening up that cuticle by doing a high lift first, then maybe use the 5.56, but depending on what you get for a level, you can tweak that formula to make it look like a 5.56 if you already have enough warmth in there. Does that make sense?
Yes, absolutely.
I'm writing down troubleshooting while I'm at it, and I'm visualizing what it was going to come up as from a 1. So I think the only way she's going to actually get to a level 5 would be lifting it somehow, and whether it be gentler with a high lift color, slower, take a little longer, but it won't be. Some people just are taboo for a lightener, and that's okay.
Yeah.
We can try to get around that.
And can this be done in one sitting as well? Because like a
I
lot
believe
of
it
brands
can.
don't allow that.
I believe it can. I believe it can get done in one sitting because you're not using anything real harsh. I would definitely take it low and slow, so it would take a while, but I'm pretty sure you could get there in one sitting.
Okay,
Yeah, 'cause
perfect.
you're not trying to get her from a 1 to like an 8, 7, or 8. 5.56 is a warm 5, so I feel like that's great. If she was trying to get a cool 5, then I'd be like, no. But a warm 5, I think you could do that all in one sitting for sure.
All right, perfect. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
All right, Heidi, another question. So this question is a bit technical. Client is asking that she has already done the hair color last Wednesday, and today she applied the treatment, the best keratin treatment, and the hair color turns into red.
Okay. So do you know what color was the color before it turned red?
No, that's what we have to ask her. No, she's just asking, what should I do now?
So if she did the best?
Yes, the best keratin.
Okay, so the best, she can tone over the best. If you use a low volume, you can color over the best.
Okay.
Yes, if you use too high of a volume or like a lightener, then you're going to strip out what you've done in. But the best is processed. It goes into the hair shaft. And so we do actually recommend, if you're going to color, you can color after the best with a lower developer, and it will not undo your taming treatment. So I would say she could go in with a low developer and recolor her hair. But again, I would either do a Lock Me Color mask or a deep conditioning mask, something that's going to really fill her hair with that Juvexin and even lock it in more. And that will also prolong the color and the taming system if she does something like a follow-up with a deep conditioning or the Lock Me mask.
All right. So, and which developer she will use?
So if she could use a 10, if she doesn't need to lift, which sounds like she doesn't, I would use a 10 at the most. If she can get away with an 8, either one would probably be fine. And then, like I said, and it wouldn't hurt to add some of the shield additive if you have that on hand as well. Anytime you want to get as much of that Juvexin and that keratin and the proteins and everything in her hair, it's just going to prolong, again, the results of her taming system and her color. And I think it would be just gorgeous. So no worries there. She can fix that pretty easily.
All right. Perfect. Thank you.
You're welcome. Are those all the questions for now?
Yes, guys, if you have any questions, so we have just 4 minutes left. So if you guys have any question, you can ask.
I think my
believe.
main question would be to do with the new, the lightning powders that we're bringing out. Like
Okay.
like with the lightning powder plus and the lightning cream that we have, they're like very safe to use, even if they want to do like a scalp, lightning as well, right?
Mhm.
How suitable or how safe are the new ones that we've just launched, while doing like a scalp lightning? Like,
Okay, so in our training in Cancun, one of the girls did do an on-scalp lightning with not the mask, hold on, the new Lightning Powder Zero. And we did it with 20 volume, and we did it with shield additive in it. So it was a correction. Just to give you a visual, the model had pretty bleached out here from about this area here out. This area here was orange, and then she had almost a level 2 root coming in about a ½ inch. So Kiva was the artist that was working on her, and I was assisting her. And Kiva did 20 volume with the Lightning Powder Zero, and she applied the orange area, 20 volume, through the whole head. And then when she was done with that, she waited, and then she applied 20 volume, the Lightning Powder Zero, to her root with the shield additive in it, and let that all process. And then she was able to wash that out and then go over with a brand new color on her. And her scalp was fine. It was gorgeous, and there was no damage to her hair or her scalp.
I think she went with the violet color, if I'm not mistaken. I think I did see some pictures of that.
Yeah. Oh, she did. Yes. So I think
yeah.
she did like a 722 on her base, and then she did. I think she dragged that through into where the coppery area was, and then she did with the masks, the color masks that we have. She did the violet one, and then she did a violet with a little bit of red, and she did different panels of that. And if you saw pictures, you saw how gorgeous that came out.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And I was her bowl girl. I was mixing her lightener for her for that. So I can tell you, I know exactly what that did, and it was gorgeous. So did that help you?
Yes, absolutely. Thank you very much.
All right. Good. That's great. I'm glad that was able to help you. So do you guys feel okay with everything that we just went over?
Absolutely, yeah.
Yes.
We've got a lot more knowledge now.
Oh, great.
Got more knowledge for the technical questions that come in now.
Oh, good, good. And I don't know if you have my information, but you can always reach out to me on like Instagram or Facebook or whatever if you have any questions. I still have people, I live in Florida now, and I have people calling me from Massachusetts all the time from classes that I've taught they just go over formula with me, and I'm like, oh, yep, you got it right. And they're like, okay, just wanted to, do a brainstorm with you. And yeah, don't be afraid to reach out. I love talking about the colors. So obviously you could probably tell that.
Thank you very much, Heidi.
Heidi,
You're
I would like-
welcome.
yes, and thank you so much for this very much helpful class for us. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Thank you for coming.
Bye, Heidi.
Take care. Bye-bye.
Bye. You hang up.